Haboim. Welcome everyone. We're about to begin Be'ezras Hashem together on Daf Nun Zayin Amud Aleph, 10 lines from the top. The Gemara just taught us that we learn out the same avodah specifications that are done in the avodas hadam in the Kodesh HaKadoshim are followed also when sprinkling the dam in the heichal on the paroiches. And therefore says the Gemara, Tano, Kishehu Mazeh Eino Mazeh ala paroiches, ela keneged ha-paroiches. Just like in the Kodesh HaKadoshim, when the Kohen Gadol is zorek the dam, when he sprinkles the dam, he does so without touching the kaparis. If it does, it's not possible, but he's not aiming on the kaparis. It's before, lifnei ha-kaparis. So too, when it comes to the sprinkling of the dam in the heichal on the paroiches, it's not on the paroiches, but rather it's before the paroiches. Om Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Yosi, Ani Ra'isia B'Roimi. Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Yosi says, I saw when I visited Rome, V'hoyu aleh kama tipi damim shel par v'soya shel Yom Kippurim. Take a look at Rashi. Rashi in Dibra HaMaschil, Ani Ra'isi B'Roimi. Masechet Me'ila, in Me'ila it's recorded, Gabe ben Talmiyoin. Nase neis le Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Yosi, Sheripa es bas melech roimi, Shenichnas shed begufa sheshmoi, ben Talmayoin, Vichnisua lo oitzer hamelech, lito komashe yirtze. The bas melech, she went meshugene, because a shade entered her. So, it's recorded over there that Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Yosi healed her. So what did the Roman emperor do? He allowed him to enter the Oitzar of Rome. And it says over here in Rashi, V'lo haya chavetz el lito misham igorois shekosu gezeiroi shma shegozu al Yisrael umotzom v'kara'om. He allowed him, the emperor, to take whatever he wanted from the treasury. What did he do? He took those letters that contained them gezeiros against Klal Yisrael, and he took them and he ripped them up. V'shoam ra klei beis hamikdash ba'oitza. There he saw kelim of the beis hamikdash, amongst them the paroiches. So he's made over here that he saw that there was the paroiches, and he says, when I saw the paroiches, hayu aleh kama tipe dam shapar v'soy Yom Kippurim. He said, and I saw many sprinkling, many drops of dam from the par in the sawyer that was made on Yom Kippurim. And I saw that they were not actually, therefore, in front of the kaparis, but rather, or the paroches rather, but rather, they were on the paroches. Asked the Gemara, what do you mean? How do you can prove that this was indeed for the par and the sar Yom Kippurim? Maybe these were for different offerings. There are other offerings like the par helem davar shel tzibur, where the tzibur, they did a certain aveira based on a ruling by the Sanhedrin that carries with it the chiyuv kares if it's done b'mezid, and therefore they bring a special par. Similarly, if they followed the ruling of the Sanhedrin about a certain thing that the Sanhedrin erroneously said was mutter and it's indeed avodah zarah, that requires a certain seir. So maybe those what's called chatos pnimis, which also have to be then you have to throw the blood towards the paroiches. Maybe that's what he saw, and not the par and the sar of Yom Kippurim. Says the Gemara, he saw that the drops of blood were besidron, just like we saw in the Mishnah that the Kohen Gadol, he does it in order. When he goes above and then he goes below, it's drops, just like someone who's administering lashes. It's one underneath the other. So therefore that was a telltale that this was the par and the sar Yom Kippurim. The Gemara brings another version. Omar Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Yosi. Sorry, V'tzna nami gabe par helem davar shel tzibur ki I gavna. There was a brisa that was taught gabe the par helem shel tzibur Kishehu mazeh lo hayu noigim beparoiches. It states there also a lashon of lifnei paroiches in regard to sprinkling the dam on by the paroiches of the inner pnimis, in this case the helam davar echad, and it says that when he's mazeh, he shouldn't be aiming towards on the paroiches itself. However, if it did touch the paroiches, then it's not poisel. Omer bi'alaz Rabbi Yosi, ani ra'isiya beroimi. I saw the paroiches when I was in Rome. V'hayu aleh kama tipi domim shel par helam dover shel tzibur v'sirei avodah zarah. And I saw there was several different drops of blood resulting from these korbanos, the par helam dover shel tzibur and the sirei avodah zarah. In other words, I saw two different places of the paroches, and this is one of the places that I saw, indicating that indeed the sprinkling of the dam was on the paroches. Ask the Gemara the same question: maybe the dam that you saw was the sprinkling of the dam of the par and the seir of Yom Kippurim. The Gemara says, no, the chazinu da avide sheloi kisidron. He saw that the drops of blood were not in order. So therefore, it implies that these are the dam of the helam davar echad, of the par of helam davar shel tzibur, or the sirei avodah zarah, whereby he's made that indeed there was a sprinkling of this dam on the paroiches and not lifnei ha-paroiches. The Gemara now brings the following question: Nis'arvu loy damim bedamim. What happens if the blood of the par and the blood of the so'ir gets mixed together? Now, there's a discussion amongst the Rishonim, which point of the avodah are we talking about? Rashi learns we're talking about before performing the sprinkling of the dam in the heicha, in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. However, the Rishonim, Tosas Yishonim, and also Tosas Amud Beis brings a Gemara lekamon that explains that if the seir is shechted before the sprinkling of the dam of the par inside the Kodesh HaKadoshim, it's invalid. Therefore, these Rishonim learn that we're talking about over here in the Heichal. Rashi will have to learn that this Gemara is cholek on the Gemara lekamon. Al Koponim, the Gemara says, what happens if this blood gets mixed one with the other? What is the din? Omar Rav noisin achas lamala v'sheva lamato v'oyle lo lekan lekan. Rava suggests that the way to then perform the avodah would be simply take the mixed blood, since it has both par and soyer together, make the one application above and the 7 below, and you cover both your bases because it has both the par and the soyer together. Amrua kamed Rabbi Yirmiyahu. They said this ruling that Rava had just said in front of Rabbi Yirmiyahu, who was in Eretz Yisrael. Omar, he said, Bavloi tipshoi. He said, these foolish Babylonians, Mishum de dairi ba'ara de chashucha amish maitze de mechashchon, because they live in a darker place. They're saying things that are dark and obscure and unclear and incorrect. Hakayav lamalo de seir mekamin mata de par. Behold, you have to first do the application of the seir above before. I'm sorry, you can't do this, the application of the seer above before the application of the par down below. And if you're going to then put this mixture of 1 above and 7 below, then what you're doing is the 1 above is not only the parts of the seer also, and that's going to come before the par lamata, the 7 below of the par. And that's an incorrect order. The Torah Amra, because the Torah is makbid and is li'ikuva, v'kila michaper es hakodesh, and he shall complete the atonement of the kodesh. Meaning, first you have to go and be kiseder. Kila dam par v'achag kila dam hasoyer. First you have to finish with the dam of the par, and only afterwards go ahead and sprinkle the dam of the soyer. Elom Rabbi Yirmiyahu, and therefore Rabbi Yirmiyahu says, what is the solution to such a problem when you have the two damim that are mixed together? Says Rabbi Yirmiyahu, noisin achas lamalo v'sheva lamata l'shem hapar. You first do an application above and then 7 below, with the intention that this is the par. And then do the next application above and 7 below. This time l'shem hasoyer. So now you've covered your two bases. Now the Gemara has a new question. What happens if you first did an upper application of the dam hapar, but before you did the lower application of dam hapar, it says over here, the damim got mixed together. What should you do? Says the Gemara, Rav Papa thought to say before Rava the following solution: Noisein sheva lamato l'shem par, vish l'shem soyer. You should do 7 below for both the shem of the par and the soyer. Again, you've already done 1 par above. Now when you do the sheva below, you should do 7 below with both the shem of the par and the shem of the soyer, because it's mixed together. And then afterwards do the upper application of the soyer. Rava says back to Rav Papa, Ad hashta karu lon tipshoy. Until now they called us fools. And now they're going to call us fools amongst the fools. Because they're going to say, we have taught them and they have not still learned. In other words, we taught them that you have to follow the specific order, and you're not doing so. Because you did the bottom of the seir application before you did the upper seir application, and that has to be the upper first and then the lower one. On top of Nun Zayin Amud Beis, Elo Amar Rove. Rather, Rava says, what is the solution to this problem? When again, you've done the first application of the dam of the par above, and then the damim got mixed together, what should you do? Omar Rava noisin sheva lamato l'shem par. You then do 7 below with the intention of the par. And then you do the 1 above the shem soyer, and then sheva below the same of the soyer. A third question the Gemara asks now: Nisarvu loy koisos bekoisos. You mix the 2 koisos. You don't know which one is which. There is the kois of the dam hapar and the kois of the dam hasoyer, and you don't know which one belongs to which. So says the Gemara, what should you do? Nisarvu loy koisos bekoisos. Says the Gemara, noisein v'choizer v'noisein. V'choizer v'noisein, shloisha pamim. You should take one of the koisos and do the applications, 1 above, 7 below. Then to take the other kois and take that blood and do 1 above and 7 below. And take the first kois, and do it again, 1 above and 7 below. Then mimonav shach. Then you'll take care of all your bases. In the event that the first one is the para and the second one is the sa'ir, then you're great. You did everything perfectly the first 2 times. In the event that the first one was the sa'ir and the second was the par, so it was invalid, the sa'ir. So now after you did the par, you do the sa'ir again, which was the first kois, and now you've covered your bases. So therefore it's going to be kiseder.